In 10 days, 5 roads in 4 American states opened up beneath the vehicles driving on them, and not one of those drivers had any warning before the pavement disappeared. In Omaha, 2 cars stopped at a red light and dropped into a hole that formed in the time it takes a signal to change. In Phillipsburg, New Jersey, a dump truck carrying asphalt to repair one sinkhole broke through the street into a second one 30 feet away. The repair vehicle swallowed by the problem it came to fix. During the blizzard of 2026, a snowplow in Winthrop, Massachusetts, hit pavement that had been weakened by a chain of water main breaks and sank until both axles snapped. And in Detroit, a driver pulled out of his own driveway on a Wednesday evening and dropped straight into a hole that no one had marked, barricaded, or lit. A state of emergency was declared in one town. Residents were evacuated from their homes in another. Water mains ruptured, power was cut. So gas lines were shut down across entire blocks, and streets that had carried school buses and ambulances the morning before were fenced off behind barricades with no timeline for reopening. Every official statement used the same phrase: water main break. Routine, isolated, under control. The roads say otherwise. But here is the detail that tells the real story. On the afternoon of February 24th, a University of Nebraska security camera recorded 9 seconds of footage that explain everything wrong with the ground beneath American roads. A maroon Jeep Cherokee and a silver Dodge Ram pickup are sitting at the red light at 67th and Pacific Street in Omaha, near the edge of Elmwood Park. Westbound lane, afternoon traffic. The light is mounted on a standard steel signal pole, bolted into a concrete base that is poured into the same ground that holds the road, the water main beneath it, and the assumptions of every driver who has ever passed through that intersection without thinking about what is underneath. In the footage, both vehicles are stationary. Then the surface buckles. The pavement folds inward and both cars drop simultaneously, their front bumpers catching on the lip of the hole just enough to stop them from going all the way down. A vehicle 2 lengths behind reverses immediately. Another one misses the edge by feet. The truck driver climbs out of the hole on his own, then turns around and helps pull the other driver to safety, while bystanders run in from the sidewalk and begin directing traffic away from the edge. Police Lieutenant Dan Martin arrived at the scene and said one sentence that carries more weight than any engineering report could. This caught everybody by surprise. 2 drivers followed every rule. They stopped at the light and stayed in their lane, and the ground beneath them was already gone. To understand how America arrived here, you have to watch the week accelerate. On Monday, February 16th, the first hole opens at the intersection of Summit Avenue and Lewis Street in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, a small town in Warren County sitting on a valley of limestone bedrock. A garbage truck drops in. 30 feet down the same street, a car sinks into a second depression. And Aqua, New Jersey scrambles to isolate cracked water lines before the damage spreads further. By Tuesday the 17th, a dump truck loaded with asphalt arrives to patch the damage and breaks through the pavement into a third collapse, sinking halfway into the street and rupturing another water main on the way down. The driver is pulled out with minor injuries. Water service is cut to roughly 20 homes, gas and electric go down across the block, and Mayor Randy Piazza Jr. Declares a state of local emergency. That night, crews deploy ground-penetrating radar and discover at least 3 more voids hiding beneath the neighborhood, cavities that no one knew existed until the street above them started collapsing. Sidewalks are sagging visibly. Residents are told they may need to leave their homes. By Thursday the 20th, crews have worked overnight to extract the dump truck, replace the water main, and backfill the hole. But 10 homes still have no water. The intersection is still closed, and the town has no timeline for when any of it returns to normal. 3 days later, the picture changes completely. The blizzard of 2026 buries Massachusetts, and in Winthrop, a coastal town 5 miles from downtown Boston, the storm knocks out power to at least 1,500 homes. The outage kills 3 pressure relief valves simultaneously, and when all 3 valves open at once, the pressure surge that follows cracks water mains on Marshall Street, Veterans Road, Beale Street, and several other locations at the same time. Streets flood, and basements fill with water across the neighborhood. firefighters go door to door. And at 7:30 that morning, a snowplow working Marshall Street hits the weakened pavement and drops in. None of these are sinkholes in the way most people understand the word. When geologists talk about sinkholes, they mean limestone dissolving over centuries, underground caverns forming naturally, and the surface eventually giving way into a void carved by groundwater and time. That is not what happened here. These are infrastructure collapses, man-made cavities created by pipes that have been leaking, corroding, and washing away the soil around them for years, sometimes decades, until the road above has nothing left to stand on. A water main develops a crack. Pressurized water escapes into the surrounding fill and begins eroding it from the inside out. Over weeks or months, when a void forms beneath the pavement, and the asphalt holds because it is rigid, it bridges the gap the way a floor spans a hollow room. Buses pass over it every day. Delivery trucks, school routes, the cavity widens and the bridge thins, and then one vehicle stops in the wrong place at the wrong moment and the floor is gone. Here is the problem that is not making headlines. A water main breaks somewhere in the United States every 2 minutes. That is 250,000 breaks per year across more than 2.3 million miles of buried pipe. The average age of a failing water main in this country is 53 years, and 1/3 of all mains, roughly 770,000 miles, are older than 50. The American Society of Civil Engineers gave the nation's drinking water infrastructure a C- in its 2025 report card, and the EPA says $1.26 trillion is needed over the next 20 years to bring the system up to standard. Current funding covers a fraction of that number. In Detroit, where a truck fell into a hole on Chatham Street on February 25th, the city's water mains burst 80% more often than the North American average. Most of the pipes under the city are more than 90 years old, and an investigation into a previous collapse traced the failure to a main installed in 1902. In Phillipsburg, Professor Brett Bennington of Hofstra University confirmed that the town sits on limestone, which makes it prone to collapse. But the trigger was not the geology. It was the pipes built on top of it and the freeze-thaw cycles that crack aging infrastructure open every winter. The pipes are not being replaced fast enough, and the roads above them are holding on borrowed time. And then it got worse. In Phillipsburg, Jamal Clark lost power, water, and gas at the same time and ran a generator to keep his food from spoiling, while he watched the curb in front of his house crack and shift over the course of a single day. "How far is it going to go?" he asked. "Is it going to come all the way down here?" Down the street, Erno Garay described what it was like in the kind of plain language that does not need interpretation. "We are struggling. There's no power. We can't flush the toilets. There's no water. Can't do dishes. Can't cook. Everybody here is in a bind." Tyreek McBride walked outside and saw the dump truck half swallowed by the road and said the only thing there was to say. "It looks crazy, man. Like, it's just something unheard of." In Winthrop, Scott Portrait was on Marshall Street when the snowplow hit the broken pavement at 7:30 in the morning during the worst of the blizzard. "I was coming up the street and I heard a big pop," he said. "I look out and he's sinking. Both tires popped, the air brakes are gone, the whole truck's totaled." Town manager Anthony Marino later confirmed that the power outage knocked out 3 pressure relief valves at once, and the surge that followed cracked mains across multiple streets simultaneously. 24% of utility customers in Winthrop lost power that day, and firefighters went door to door helping people pump water out of their basements. In Detroit, a driver identified only as Ryan pulled out of his driveway on Chatham Street on Wednesday evening and dropped straight into a cavity hidden by standing water from a broken main. "I pulled out of my house and ran right into a sinkhole," he said. There were no barricades, no warning signs, no lights. The water had covered the hole completely, and the first indication that the road was gone was the moment his front wheels fell through it. As of this week, Phillipsburg Summit Avenue is still partially closed, and the state of emergency has not been lifted. Omaha's Pacific Street remains barricaded with warnings the sinkhole could expand. Detroit's water main was repaired Thursday morning, but residents say they have no confidence the road next to it will hold. And in Winthrop, the damage from the blizzard flooding will take weeks to fully assess. 5 events in 4 states in 10 days. And in every case, the official explanation landed on the same word: isolated. How do you tell a driver stopped at a red light that the road beneath them has been quietly dissolving for years, that no one inspected it, that no one flagged it, and that the only reason it held as long as it did is because asphalt is stiffer than the nothing underneath it? How do you explain to a town that sent a dump truck to fix a hole in the street and watch the street swallow the truck that the ground beneath their neighborhood was just as hollow, and that ground-penetrating radar found 3 more voids that same night? And if 250,000 water mains break in this country every year, and 770,000 miles of pipe are older than the cars driving over them, and the funding to replace them covers a fraction of what is needed, how many other intersections are standing on nothing right now? In Omaha, the traffic light at 67th and Pacific is still mounted on its steel pole, still bolted into its concrete base, still cycling through red, yellow, green the way it has for years. On February 24th, 2 drivers stopped at red. They did everything right. The light held. The road beneath it did not.